not arguably, that has ever existed. It's amazing, and they've done it to many, many empires. It's amazing how they can do it, time after time, even though everybody knows, they still do it. It's truly remarkable. Maybe
Let's get
there
on
is some
the
supernatural stuff
The
involved.
let's
hand
get
of an empire.
let's get on the Zionist black pill. Come on, SC. I ain't heard it for a while.
It's a hand of that empire, Essie. It's not a separate empire or it overthrowing an empire. It's the hand of that empire.
You think
Let,
it's
let,
the same hand? It could very well
Yeah,
be.
the original ones don't exist anymore. Or no, the original ones don't exist anymore. Like even their tribes were maintained through intermarriage to keep a promise within each nation. Um, so it's the interbreeding of mankind. Like there is no pure blood people, like people from 2,000 years ago. There's no pure blood of them anymore, of any nation.
no,
Everybody's mixed in.
yeah,
Everybody's mixed in.
it's the mixed multitude. Let me ask you this, Yahweh is king. Um, what is there any good Zionists? Because I hear there's many sects. Like, is there
Oh
any good ones?
no, I say woe to those who call themselves Jews and are not. Period. I don't care
Really?
how good natured towards the religion the person is or anything. The simple fact of even trying to practice that religion is a doctrine of a devil. Um, that's why he's called the
But it's not
dragon.
a religion. It's not. Zionism is not a religion.
It is founded in a religion.
No, it's just a diabolical movement for supporting of one country. That's all it is. Unconditional support of the Jewish state. That's Zionism.
Yeah, Jewish is a religion. Anybody get the idea that Jewish is a nationality? That's wool being poured over people's eyes. That just adds to the Zionist claim because in reality there is no Jewish nationality.
Well, we see it being practiced right now, right? Which other
Religion.
nation would we like turn a blind eye that they bombed the whole city to the ground, right? Which other nation would your country support? None. There's no other nation except that one.
Part of their religion is that they're a chosen people. It's all part of the religion.
Exactly. And they convinced your people through religion and lobbyists, of course, combination of both. And yeah, we have what we have now.
No, they didn't. The Roman Catholic Church convinced people of their superiority. It wasn't them that did it. The Roman Catholic Church granted the Khazars the identity of Jews by forging documents to proclaim them as being part of the tribes that left Jerusalem and went up north. And the Roman Catholic Church has perpetrated the narrative that these people are supposedly Jews. Like again, it's all a hand of the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about Jews. I'm talking about Zionists.
Yeah, which are Jews.
No, not necessarily. There's a lot of them are, but a lot of them are not. Like you're not. I'm not sure if your current president is an admitted Zionist, but Biden was a proud Zionist for like ever since he was a congressman in the old days.
And he was a
Proud, and
Roman
he says it
Catholic.
proudly.
And he's the only other Roman Catholic president since Kennedy. How about that?
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And how
The
about this current
Zionist
president?
narrative.
What is this? Is he a Christian?
He's a,
Nobody talks
he's a-
about Trump's religion. You ever notice that?
yeah, no, he's a proclaimed practicing Christian. That's why you have those videos of him in church and stuff, and him
Did,
setting a Christian woman pastor. And I got nothing against women teachers, but just the, I mean, this. I don't know if you've seen the video, but this lady recently advocated that any Christian who donates $1,000 will receive 7 spiritual blessings and all of this stuff. And hey, that's the lady he put as the spiritual leader for the country.
did,
Craziness.
did anybody see the clip of the journalist asking Trump about his favorite passages in the Bible? Did you see his answer?
Mm-mm.
Well, he didn't. He didn't answer it. Is basically the answer. It was like, oh yeah, I like. There's many passages. He didn't really even say. He didn't even give an answer. Basically, so Adam Green
He's
loves
like
to show that clip.
he's like 90% of other Christians. It's like a bandwagon claim.
Yeah, like I'm not a very good Christian in that I don't really follow it really at all, and I can't even remember. I had a Bible when I was a kid. Don't get me wrong, but I can still remember. I can still give a pass. I couldn't tell you where it's from. But I can still think of a few of my favorite passages in there for sure.
No, see, the term Christian wasn't a term that the believers called themselves. It was a mocking term by the Romans on the believers because the believers were spreading the gospel, which was, you are Yahweh. That's who
Yeah,
you truly are. And so they were mocked, being called little messiahs. Oh, you little anointed ones, you little messiahs, you think you're God. Like
Mm.
that was the gospel, that you are God. That's
Yeah.
who is in you. That's your true identity. And they were mocked for it.
Yeah, that's
And then
that's that's basically why I posted the thing earlier with the thing that people go and see in Palestine. The depiction of the earliest one allegedly is this graffiti thing of it's clearly like some mockery of Christianity with Christ with a donkey's head.
uh,
You know, the donkey being a somewhat useless animal, you know, sort of can't procreate, sort of thing. It can't. This is your God, basically. They're saying. So it is. Yeah, it does line up. There was a lot of mockery of Christians. There still is. Let's face it. Although I dare
look,
say it's better
look,
today.
because Israel attacked first this time, they're going down. Last time in the 70s, they were attacked first. The first one to attack is the one that goes down. I'll just put it like that. And Israel's going down this time. People in Palestine and Israelis should fear this. People in Palestine and in Gaza, while those things were going on, there were people who saw Elohim, who now they described Elohim. Christians that went down there, missionaries, were trying to convince them, oh, you saw Jesus. Which, yes, they saw the Messiah, but not Jesus, who the Christians think. But they saw Yahweh in shape and form, and it filled many with hope. These are things that has happened in this thing that people don't know of. It's not spoken of very often. But you could, before they took down TikTok and all that, there were tons of people in Palestine and stuff talking about how they saw this glorious form. Um, again, Israel, they are not Israel. They are not those who believe that Yahweh is real.
Well,
They're going down.
I brought this up with Gio a long time ago. I remember. Well, that was supposedly too long. My memory is terrible, so not good. Don't go off of that. But I remember saying to him, if there's somebody outside of Western culture, but they'd have to be really, they'd have to be really outside of it. They'd have to be some Amazon rainforest person. I don't know. You know, somebody who doesn't know about the Bible in any way, shape, or form. If they had that vision, then that would be something. But somebody in Palestine, they're still too connected to it. If it, you know, you could see it as simply as your, you know, the culture, the beliefs, then inform the illusion or delusion in this
Well,
case.
they have. I mean, I contend that they have. Um, People just interpret what they see. They instead of people accepting within themselves that they didn't cause what they saw, um, people tend to subject what they already think to what they see, and so you get a bunch of add-ons.
Yeah,
But I contend that everybody has, all nations have, all peoples of all kinds have. There's only one mankind to the Creator. It's not a bunch of nations to Him. Everybody came forth from the one man Adam. It's like one giant family to Him. You know, so it's like appearing to a guy here is just appearing to a person in the same family. Um, but even archaeologically, like this is where the whole idea that El is a Canaanite deity and all that. Well, you have the record where Abraham went into these nations, um, and like when he said Sarah was his sister, and the kings of the nations wanted to take her as a wife, Elohim appeared to them in dreams, and they completely renounced what they did, turned the woman back over to her husband. Was like, why didn't you tell me this was your wife? Sent them off, treasures, all this and that. And what do you have record of? You have this record through like the inventions of gods in mankind's archaeological history. You have the appearance of the deity El, where the people would make this deity the creator of all their deities. There would be this creator deity that would be set up above all the rest, and he would have this form like a man. But the reason being is why they set him up to be the father of their pantheons is because they actually saw him. Um,
but what did
yeah.
did they do like an artist depiction, like in some crime thing? You know, I'm curious to see because I assume that the depiction would be something like the Shroud of Turin, right?
Something. It's your image when you look in a mirror. That's the same form. That's it's not something added to it. And then people like a lot of the additions of animalistic features or other types of features or adornings tend to represent like a status of glory, or like how on statues when they put breasts, it's not because they were sexual deviants; it just represented fertility. Um, Different things like that. So it's quite interesting how there was a more metaphysical depiction in art back in the day. There still is today. It's just I don't know. It's kind of muddied today in a way. It's like more true but muddied. It's weird. More refined. I shouldn't say more true. More refined. Actually, that's even in one of Ezekiel's visions, where he saw the image of a man that had the head, had the body of a man, and it had the head of an ox, an eagle, a lion, and a man, or had one head, but it had four faces facing each direction: an ox, an eagle, a lion, and a man. And that's Elohim, eagle, lion, ox, him, the man, Elohim. What are those beasts? The eagle's the king of the sky beasts, the birds. The lion is the king of the land beasts. This is their majesty. Like you look at either of those beasts, and their majesty is displayed among all the beasts. The way they walk, the way they carry themselves among the beasts of their domains. And the ox is the king of the burden-bearing beasts. And so you have the king of kings, which is Elohim.
Chapter and verse, man. Chapter and verse.
I mean, that shit just kills the server, dude. Really, like, so a lot of you guys are into it, but the ones that ain't just tune out. Like, I was about to just shut it down again because I'm not interested. You know what I'm saying?
Can you
And then,
change the name of the server, Jeremy?
and then when the Bible people stop, it's like no one's talking because it just killed it. I don't know.
Bible Awakening.
Maybe people are chewing on what's being said.
Here, I got a question. Did the Bible predict that Jaren would flip back to the globe after TFE? Righty.
It's just every day. Imagine if I did something every day for like 4 hours in here every day that mad other people, like half the server wasn't interested in. We wouldn't even be the biggest Discord server anymore. This shit would just die.
Did you get any rigs? Perhaps a better question is: have you seen a model yet where the observation they made in the TFE can be explained with?
Well, I can make an image appear on the other side of a projection. So literally, I can make 180 degree refraction. So then now what?
I don't think that'd work though, because they had the sunspots. Remember?
No, it does.
No, it doesn't. The sunspots they wouldn't be in the same place as a reflection. But moreover, old McToonray, if he does come into the server, which Gio was talking about,
I didn't say reflection. I said refraction.
Oh right, sorry. I thought you said reflection.
Yeah, that's okay.
So that's kind of funny. You're doing the reverse refraction back on.
Well, the reason I do that, so like if the liquid is right above us and we have a circular like lens of vision, then it would make sense that the position and its orientation would flip on a different side of the lens. So tracks for me. I mean, it's a wild one. It's like it's Babe Ruth calling his shot, but it's still a thing. So until that's excluded, I will continue to lead with that, and then perhaps look at other models. But it's totally viable, so I don't really think I have to go anywhere just yet. You have to remember, though, Andy, I'm of the position that the sun is always an apparent observation. So it's not that I'm cherry picking the south; it's that it is also the cause for the north. So not to say there isn't a point in the north, but the orientation and size of the medium. I mean, it would basically be me. It would have to be some kind of dome situation. It would have to be. Otherwise, my idea doesn't really make much sense.
Is he? I might be way off here, so you correct me if I'm wrong. But are you taking sort of an anti-crepuscular rays type of stance?
No. I mean, right. No. It's like it's purely the idea of the arrows in the water, how they flip orientation.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, that's the pure phenomena of what I'm talking about. And you know, if I swapped out the arrows, you wouldn't be able to tell one from the other. So
Yeah, I don't
the
know.
only
I
difference
need. Go on.
the only difference is that they're going the opposite direction. They're flipped. So,
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, just off the top of my head. But I'd need to contemplate that a little bit. So perhaps you have,
yeah.
and you've reached a better place with it than me. Because yeah, off the top of my head, I'm still struggling to see how it'd work. But I need to think
Well,
about it for a bit.
I used to think reflection was like maybe a viable option. Then I just, you know, there would be too much variability. It wouldn't be like some standard in the sky of which everyone appeals to. But the refraction situation is that it would be damn near indetectable, except that you would notice this phenomena where it's at some point it would have to just change, and it would appeal to a different direction. So, and I already think the sky is a fluid, so we're already halfway there. You know. Yeah, I think it makes the most sense for my position. Hmm. Don't you just love it when the car alarms are going off endlessly? That's great. I feel like I'm in the ghetto. Beep, beep, beep.
So if you were in the ghetto and you heard car alarms, it ain't too much of a ghetto. A lot of people started their own businesses. People that were originally trying to chase it the traditional way. No, we don't want you to see because then you could do it and you wouldn't pay us for anything. So he made that exact statement. But that like if you sit down at the seat of your pants university and learn these things and apply that knowledge, it's no different than if someone went to talking to my client. Doc was helping me hold something while I was screwing it together. And there's no need for him to say anything all the jobs that someone's going to hire you for. So like $300 and you can get into a business where you're making thousands. I can't haul wood back over if I didn't have enough wood. That's pretty cool.
You'll have like one going from the bottom to the top of the one from the bottom joist to the next joist at the top, and then the other one will go
in the room that are heated up with like a heating element. And all that or nothing, right? But they wanted to see if they could print the glass for the greenhouse out of plastic, and he managed to do it. Like he set it for a higher temp, used his clearest something sick. Someone like you're talking about outside shed and whatnot. Someone had a greenhouse. They were printing these little mini greenhouses, and yeah, printing the frames and all that or nothing, right? But they wanted to see if they could print the glass for the greenhouse out of plastic, and he managed to do it. Like he set it for a higher temp, used his clearest filament, and then like printed only in certain lines instead of a crosshatch pattern. And like it looked like freaking plexiglass, dude. Oh, that's so sick. You can print like sheets. Like there's so like me and my wife started watching all the different stuff, and it was like we started having so many different ideas. And just ideas to print stuff for around the house. You don't got to pay me shit for information, Jeremy.
Set up a whole bunch of 3D printers and just sell stuff like that. I mean, let me know if you come up with something, man. I'll tell me what to do and I'll undercut you.
You don't got to pay me shit for information, Jeremy. I'll share it with you.
I'll undercut you, meaning I'm going to steal all your business.
You're hella funny. Go ahead. I was watching one guy. He was basic prints on 6 printers. He made he just gave his video just came out. He made his financial report for last year. He made 127,000 through Etsy sales. And after fees, which are like supplies like filaments for the prints, Etsy fees for each sale, shipping fees, and some like equipment costs, like extra printer heads, different things like that. He ended up walking away with 47K profit. That's not bad for some fucking 6 machines printing you out stuff and you just sending it out to people. You know what I mean?
Did he count the electricity? Because that's going to be a lot of electricity, and printers you got to keep them running 24/7, probably or close to it.
I did not note that cost. Now interesting, because I'm off grid and I'm going to be using it. I have a 15 kilowatt system. I'll be upgrading it soon. But the printers only use. I was surprised how low of wattage they use. They only use about 300 watts an hour, and that's pretty low. Like most people's Xboxes are running at like 500-600 watts. Like a desktop computer on low is like 500 watts. So yeah, I would imagine that 6 printers, 6, 12, 18, 1800 watts. That's like running your vacuum. Let's say you ran your vacuum all day, every day. 1800, you'd end up being 1800, 36, like 3600 kilowatts a day. At most, that's like what, $36 a day. If you're paying $1 a kilowatt, no one's paying that. Paying like 10 or 13 cents a kilowatt. So almost like $1 a day total.
Yeah, but if you got the solar panel and the batteries, once you have the solar panel and the batteries, though, that is zero cost per day.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You already bought the stuff.
You see where my mind is with it then. I was already thinking of like, if the business is going good, it'll pay for its own solar system, you know?
You should get a Bitcoin miner going, dude. Get a Bitcoin miner just running.
I was mining crypto back in the day, and the funny thing was the way I got around electricity costs was I was a maintenance manager for a set of condominiums, and so I just had it plugged into my office running. But it pulled like it actually pulled almost the same amount of electricity, like 1800 watts an hour. But they only make like a few pennies an hour unless you have a bigger system. So it's all about free electricity that ends up making it profitable. But it wouldn't be Bitcoin. It would be another coin. Make some more money off of it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you cut the electrical costs out of crypto, it's nicely profitable. But yeah, if you have to pay for the electricity, it's not that great.
Well, and see, here's an interesting little tidbit to information. Like when we came out here in 2020, I remember in 2019 because it was all in crypto and everything. And I remember seeing that Elon Musk had received government contracts to build a Bitcoin mining farm in Texas. Now, he at the same time around that time, that's when he opened the Gigafactory that I worked at in outside of Reno. Now the Gigafactory, he bought enough acreage around it he set up like a whole solar plant around the Gigafactory to make it to where the whole factory was running off of solar. Now, interestingly enough, one of the largest land purchases right there next to it was done by some cryptocurrency company. So it's kind of interesting. It was kind of interesting that this cryptocurrency bought this huge swath of land to set up a mining thing right next to Elon Musk setting up this whole kind of power plant. So it almost smelled like something that he was doing to set up a way to mine for free and not have to pay energy costs. And we got huge solar farms going up out here in Nevada right now. Huge, like seas of glass.
I mean, that's the move, dude. You could power the whole everything off enough solar panels. So let's go.
Yep. And they're fooling everybody by saying the battery tech isn't there. We have the battery tech to store the power to be able to distribute even in outages and things like that. Like even us, like on a 15 kilowatt battery, which shit, 3 years ago, like I built the battery to avoid paying huge costs. I bought the cells from China for
Do you
$2,600.
know who Levelist is?
I've heard him speak a few times.
You should pick his brain because he knows how to get deals and stuff and the good batteries that last long. Like you should check with him before you make your next upgrade.
Oh, dude, no, I had to do all that research. I learned all this stuff for sure. No, because again, I built my battery. I bought all the raw cells. I put them together with the BMS and everything. Um, but when I bought the cells 3 years ago, the cells were $2,600, and like this is like the cheapest you could find around for A plus cells. I got Eve A plus cells. Um, right now, the same fucking cells are $900, dude. Like the cost for the batteries has gone down so much because now you can get the same type of cells, the same amp hour capacity in the cells, and then they're slimmer, they're smaller. So our battery technology is compressing and expanding at the same time. Um, but it's crazy. Like the same system I built last freaking 3 years ago for a little over $3,000. Right now, it only cost me like $1,400. But this system, what I was getting at with this system, like running the refrigerator, internet, TV, all the lights in the house, using the stove because your stove has an igniter in it to get it going in the oven. All those things, running the pump for the water, for the house, the faucets and all that. I can go about 3.5 days with no recharge on that one battery. Like that's good. You don't run into that many occasions where you don't have no sunlight for 3.5 days. I'm talking no recharge. But even on a cloudy day, and they say, oh, well, cloudy days you don't get much charge. All those blue panels that you see, that's why they're not getting good charge. Polycrystalline panels do not work good in cloudy atmosphere, cloudy weather. Monocrystalline panels, the dark colored, almost black colored panels, they work good in cloudy weather. You will still get some charge, not a whole bunch like if it's sunny, but like even if it's cloudy and it's snowing,
Got
we'll
panels,
still,
dude. I know.
yeah,
Yeah, I
we'll
got
still
them. I know.
recoup. Okay, then you know, Jeremy, yeah, because we'll still recoup like 11% in the day. And if we're not like running the TV all day, or if I'm not running the desktop all day or something, we'll only use like 12% during the night. So what we gain back during the day still keeps us through. Like ever since I upgraded from 1,500 watts of panels to the 3,100 watts of panels, I've never start the generator like ever to recharge the system. Um, it just pulls enough power during those off days. I mean, you got to keep the snow off the panels and whatnot, but it recoups enough to keep everything going. And then once the sun comes out, that amount of power is recharging my system by 40% in one day. So, but more battery capacity is what I need if I want to install like a mini split, because like we're on wood stove. Now, if the roads get too flooded or whatnot, and I can't haul wood back over, if I didn't have enough wood stored, then you can't really put wood in the wood stove. So you got to run propane. Well, if you run out of propane, then what? I want a backup alternative that I don't have to be concerned over. I've thought about sand batteries in the room that are heated up with like a heating element that's heated from solar, and then the sand battery radiates the heat through the day to offset temperatures. But also a mini split, one of those ones with the air conditioning and heat running off of solar. But I just need more capacity of battery to where I could use those mini splits in the days where you're not getting much of a pull from the sun.
What about having like a big tank of water within your house that stays at a stable temperature all year?
You'd have to have a large space for that tank.
Or you can have a
Footprint.
pond, like those Earth
That is-
ships.
Yeah.
I picture. I mean, what's more pleasant sounding than running waterfall, right?
Oh,
Shane
yeah.
Gillis says that. It sounds like applause, but
No, fountains in the house has always been a thing to me. It's always something that's like a small joy. Like I remember when I was a kid, uh, uh, my mom would go into this hotel in Palm Springs, a Marriott hotel, and inside the lobby, they had like a boat that would come in and swim through the lobby, and there's all like these fountains and birds and all these tropical birds, and they're all chirping in the lobby, and it's quite an interesting experience.
have some lily pads in your living room.
Right? I mean, it's pretty cool. Like one of those things where you can make like a glass floor and have like the koi pond or something right underneath.
But this thing, like water, is sort of, I think, a magical thing where it has its freezing points at different altitudes, but it's gonna hold energy and
Let's see,
slowly release it.
it compound freezes, as I've come to learn. Like when we set up the
What?
kitchen side of the house, we had put our water tank, because at first we were we had the water tank as storage, and we'd pull out of the water tank. Then when we got the kitchen side built, we put the water tank in a place where I could pipe to the house, just have it piped to the house from the faucet. And I put it on the north side of the house. It was just my wife just laughed about it. It was just out of the sun, just enough to where all winter our tank was frozen. Like that was a fun one, melting snow all winter for water and for showers and all of that. Oh,
You're
man.
familiar with a ram pump?
Yeah, I am.
I want to do like a ram pump in my house and have like flowing water. We know doesn't freeze, right?
Yeah.
And if you can use gravity and pump the water through your traditional solar panel water heating system, just the sun and what they have, the quote unquote plastic,
Yeah. The water
you know,
solar
uh,
panels.
advanced plastic where it's not glass and copper anymore like it used to be. So it just seems something sort of simple, and all you need is that water to flow through it, and a little bit at a time, enough not to freeze.
Oh, you don't even have to have it pressurized.
Bro,
Part of the
flowing
deal.
water can freeze. I don't know who told you that, but
Is Jeremy talking?
Yeah, flowing.
Jeremy, I got something to say to you. Okay, I don't have any say you have to say to me means nothing, Jeremy.
okay, good talk.
Right. But yeah, at a certain pressure, flowing water doesn't freeze, but it can get cold enough to freeze flowing water.
Flowing water only makes icicles.
No, if you go out into the forest and the mountains when it's like really cold, the creeks and everything freeze, but it's not the creek doesn't stop. It's
Well,
only
what
like
it
an
does,
upper shower. An
yeah,
upper
it makes
shower.
and that insulates it. And
Yeah.
water's a great insulator.
Mm-hmm. So it's like the outer layers end up freezing, but the core, it doesn't freeze shut, like the cartoon show. But yeah, no, ram pump in the house would be a little bit hectic because there's a lot of wasted water that happens during the pumping process.
Well,
And
all
so
you
try
need
to
isn't that elevation, right? So wasted water is just, what do? They have a pond, right?
Yeah, you have to have it somewhere
You
to
have two
circulate.
ponds, and one's the wasted water, whatever recircled, right?
Yeah.
So that wasted water is your waterfall.
Yeah.
You can
Well, one
put
thing I was
your
gonna mention with the ram pump, the thing with the solar panel, the solar panel waters, is when it's heated on the roof, it causes an exchange, like because it's pressurized, it becomes pressurized itself. So from what I understand, you only need water coming into it. When it gets heated up, it becomes pressurized. So you don't actually have to have like a ram pump hooked up to it to get it to move through it.
Do you have land with a spring on it?
No. Again, we did not start with a big monetary, back in. I got what I could. But out of we chose something a little more desolate because you get more land and you get better geography of your land if you go more where people don't want to be, or where there's not really much people. So we have like 100-foot mountain face, and a good portion of the top of it. And I got that specifically for water type earthworks to be done because there's a lot of water that comes off of it. And then within 700 feet of the property, there's a big dam, a giant dam. Right now it's so freaking full. It's crazy. But yeah, the property does have water rights to that. But all water comes from a well. Well or earthwork capture.
Are you going to build your own home?
Already am. Already have. We're at right now. We started when I built it. First thing I built was a 12 by 12 little cabin thing. And then we didn't finish that the first year we came out. We left, and then 3 years later, when COVID started happening, I saw the writing on the wall of what that was going to do to the economy. And so we came out here as soon as everything happened. I quit my job, came out here and added an 8 by 12 addition to a little 12 by 12. And we lived in that through winter. 3 kids, 3 kids, and less than one room through winter, and we have pretty much like a living room and a bedroom. The next year, I built a 12 by 24 addition, and then the first edition, the 8 by 12, I built it off the side of the wall, so it slants off the side of the 12 by 12. The 12 by 24 edition I built next, I connected it by a hallway. Right now, that's the kitchen, and the 5 by 12. It was supposed to be a 5 by 8 bathroom in the back, but my wife wanted a pantry, so the 5 by 8, the 5 by 12 back area that's walled off is a temporary bathroom / pantry for now. And then the rest is the kitchen, how it's supposed to be / dining room. And then a year, and not last year, but the year before, I added a 14 by 24 addition, and that's supposed to be the main living room. And off the high side, a 12 by 24 addition is supposed to come off and divided in two as 2 solid bedrooms. But right now, the 14 by 24 I have partitioned off with. I built it as 2 bedrooms with like a 4-foot hallway. So it's like 2 10 by 12 bedrooms right now for the kids. And then me and my wife are in the original 8 by 12 bedroom. And then this year I'm adding, it's going to be the master bedroom. It's a 16 by 24 with a second 16 by 16 story and an 8 by 16 deck. And the way things are looking, I'll be able to add also the master bathroom. We put the bathroom off here and there because the way we're able to, the shower setup I have, and using the restroom in the house and all that, is satisfactory for now. But I really want a soaking tub in my house. But I might. It looks like we could build the bathroom as well.
I bet your wife wants the tub more. So how
She
much
does.
snow?
She's
How
shaking
much
her head.
lucky? What's like the what's the pitch on your roof? You guys get snow where you gotta not let
So
it.
I did a skillion roof on all the buildings, which is known as like a shed roof style, where it's a high side lowering down. But I didn't sacrifice the low side. My low sides are 8 feet, and they rise up to 11 feet. So it's almost like vaulted ceilings in the house throughout the whole house. But the house on the 12-foot wide ones, because I only put a 3-foot pony wall, because I built them all 8-foot walls, or standard regular 8-foot walls. I don't cut the studs down or anything. And then I put a 3-foot pony wall on the high side, and then run my rafters down. So I end up with like a 312 pitch. Now our snow, we can end up with like 1.5 2 feet of snow on the roof, but it's been shedding really well. It's actually kind of surprised me. And part of that I feel is because there's no attic space. All the heat that's in the house goes directly to the roof, which helps with warming the roof up and having everything slide off. And I haven't had any damming problems with ice buildup, like ice dam problems.
Right.
But I've been real conscientious about these things. You know, when you're building your own house, you know what I mean. And so, and when you first put up your first walls and roof, man, you sit under that thing. You gotta get comfortable, trust your building and all that. But yeah, no, it's so far going so good. Each structure gets even better than the last. Like even the first structure, the 12 by 12 I built, I ran 2 by 6s, pressure treated 2 by 6s, and I didn't understand really about spans. Like that was like kind of my own first building kind of thing. Your spans lessen when you go into pressure treated. And so the next structure, of course, I used 2 by 8s, and all the spans were good. Everything's good. But even though I ran everything on piers, I didn't realize that technically, even though my joists are good, my spans are good, and everything, without a sill plate running on the piers, all of my stress is technically on my nails on the rim joists. And so the next building, of course, what I do, I put support so that all the joists, they end up sitting on a support as well. They're not just floating.
Those nails can give a little, and take.
Oh yeah. Especially when you give like an extra nail compared to like 3, you shoot 4, things like that. You got more shear strength. And nails, that's why you don't use screws. And but yeah, things like that. You learn. You learn like don't run your sheeting horizontal. Run it, or don't run it vertical, run it horizontal so that it laps over joists, so that you gain that structural rigidity. You kind of, when you build your own and you're doing these things, you end up learning like architectural engineering. You learn these things. It's cool. It's exciting. It's an exciting adventure in life. You know what I mean?
You learn why it's said to be done a certain way.
Yep. That's for sure. Like, What say, Schlitzy?
I said it's common sense. When you put your joist down to run the boards overlap, like cross lap, it's going to be like they don't move. But then you have to do I don't know, when you're doing joists, do you put a row of noggins in for like structural walls and all that kind of stuff?
You mean blocking?
Well, we just call them, like you've got your joist, then you'll put whatever the span is, cut the little pegs so they don't twist, but they'll most probably support a wall. Yeah, for sure.
That kind of stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I did know from day one. I do like an X cross. I don't run my blocking like just directly in between. I run it as an X from one corner to the next. So it's like a big X in the floor.
Have you seen them when they do them herringbone? So they go from the bottom to the top, and then the other way. So when you look at,
yeah, no, I can see that. So they board underneath the joist and then between them.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
So you'll have like one going from the bottom to the top of the one from the bottom joist to the next joist at the top, and then the other one will go. So if you're looking at them sideways, they're like crosses.
Yeah, I can see that.
Herringbone.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: there's some things that we do today that, like, in the town I'm in. Oh shit, dude! The house that I'm working on right now, it was built in 1890, so it's straight rock foundation. And what they did was they just laid some like 2-3 inch bed of river rock, a 2 to 3 inch sized river rock, all as like a base, and then on the perimeter they laid a bigger like foundation stone, and it looked like they did like a 2-foot wall, like they did it underneath and then laid it on top. And then what they did was they laid like a 4x4 outlay on that rock, and then they built the walls directly on that, like a standard framing, stick frame style wall, plate, studs, plate, double plate. And they ran that on the 4x4s, and so there is no joist system. It's just like a glorified treehouse in a way. And the way they did the floors was it was like they were like floating joists that weren't even really nailed into the perimeter of 4x4s, which would technically be the rim joists. And kind of the whole way everything is holding together that I noticed is the entire subfloor of the house is all 1x12s, like 1x12x16. So it's lapping over everything, tying everything. And then all the walls are sheathed in 1x12. Like there's wallboard in the house, and it's old asbestos wallboard, but it's wallboard. But it's over 1x12s, holding all the studs. So that's really what's like holding all the house together. So like pulling up the floor in the bathroom to replumb everything, I kind of laid like after I replumbed everything, I had to dig out the floor and everything because the septic tank is barely lower than the floor, but they had like 390-degree angles coming from a pipe. At least it was a 4-inch. That's why the 90s didn't do too bad. But 390s coming to the toilet, and then a weird galvy drain thing that had the shower and 1.5-inch galvanized drain thing that teed in way down the line close to the septic tank into the main pipe. So I pulled all that out, redid it, and then the perimeter wall, one side of the wall was on that 4x4, and the other side, it was like this floating rim joist that the siding and everything was nailed to, but it was all floppy, like it wasn't on anything. And so the best I did with it was built that back up, supported the corner because the corner wasn't sitting on anything. I supported the corner with the pressure treated wood just to support it for a moment, jacked it up, supported it, supported the floppy side, and then created a form with plywood on the inside of the wall, and then on the outside I created a 3-inch bump out and then made a form around it, and then poured backfilled concrete in the whole thing to create like kind of like a mock kind of form or a footing. Also in the walls I drilled through the plates and through the 4x4s, and I put concrete anchor bolts in there so that when the concrete poured in and hardened, the anchor bolts would pull in so that footing didn't just float away and settle away from the wall. The wall was connected to it.
Yeah, it's mad how I've seen some like genius stuff and some stuff. I think how is this not falling down or like where they've put the flooring in? It's just on mud. It's mad how it's. But, like, sometimes the woman she was on this job and we took the floor out, but it was on mud, and she said like in the winter, yes, the floor looks wet. So it must have like, suck it all up because it's obviously it's porous, but they're big flagstones. And then what we did, we put the flagstones back, but on a marine ply.
Yeah, it's crazy, these old houses. But that's what I'm saying. it flies in the face of all this extra rigidity that we put into things, because then look what happens. The houses we're putting extra blocking into and all this stuff, they're gone in like 50, 60 years. They're falling over. And now here are these houses from 100 plus years ago that seems like they were built out of stick, shit, and spit.
Yeah,
Standing.
so I had these houses in France, and like like we owned it with this farmer, but he wouldn't sell to us, and we wouldn't sell to him. And his roof fell down, and these beams, I've never seen beams like this. Like, so you imagine, it was like it was I don't know. Do you know, like you got like a queen's Ross, where it looks like a tree,
Yeah.
so it branches out, and they held this. I reckon they were easily 4 foot by 4 foot, and it was just a beam. So
Yeah.
when their roof caved in, and it only caved in because the floor was like woodworm, and so that dropped down, and this beam must have, well, it went through something. I think the wall was something like about 3 feet, and this beam, where it collapsed and then swung back, it went through the wall. It was insane.
Wow.
You couldn't believe it. It was. But I was thinking, how the fuck did they get that beam up there? Because it must have been something like oak, or because it was just it was. I've never seen anything like it. It was incredible.
Oh, and if it was oak, it came from at least a 400-year-old tree.
Man,
Yeah.
I think on these old houses, because the cottage was different. That was a different era that was built on at the end. But when I walked in, mine was an old mill, and it was a Norman, because like when you walked in in the fireplace, it had the Norman's head, and it was a massive fireplace. I could actually just walk in the fireplace, not even bend down. It was like easily 6 feet, maybe even bigger, and it was easily 4 meters wide. So and then you had these big, massive stones where they done so like they put all the grain in, and it was like whatever they made went straight into the fire. It was fucking insane. These wheels were massive. They were easily, I would imagine, I don't know. There was easily 10 feet, like from one side to the other, and there were two on top of each other. Like where it worked around, and I would imagine they had the at the back they would have had a horse just walking around in circles to make them go around.
Huh.
Fucking insane.
One of the things that always strikes me too is even in like a house like I'm explaining, like the 1x12, like when I pulled the wall out, and the old 1x12s that were put in 1890, these 1x12s look better than the 1x12s you buy off of the shelf. Like, they look better, the grain is better, they smell better after 100 years. It's like, and sometimes you go into like, the house has been well taken care of, and it's an old 100-year-old house, and you look at some of the rafters, and some of that old growth pine is still as blonde as when it was first cut. Like, and even the way it's just so gorgeous, this wood. And I was even like I was cutting some of the wood to make room for something the other day, and the smell that was coming off, because when you use an oscillator you get a little bit more smoke, your blade's a little dull. But I was smelling it, and the smell of this wood had me thinking about, like, what did these towns smell like back in the day when everybody was burning these woods in their wood stove? Like, it was such an enriching aroma. Like, it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think these were low. I'm guessing because I can't remember now, but I'm sure it was around 1300, which was like on the lintel above the door, so like you could see it was like carved. They'd carved it in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking insane. I'm trying to look on Google Maps now because you can actually see them. You can see where the roofs. I'm just wondering if there's an aerial view where you can see how thick the joists are. I mean the rafter, because it would have been the main. And the roof was crazy. It went from the ground, like about 3 feet, right to the top of the house. And it was
What was the span? What was the span that beam had?
that beam. I don't know whether it was if it had a join. If it had a join, I wouldn't have even known it. But it's easily 15 feet, maybe even more.
Yeah.
Let me think. Say, I'll send you. Like, I'm gonna find it because I know it's on Google Maps, and I'm hoping it's got an aerial view. Maybe I'll even give you the coordinates, and because I don't own it no more, so and maybe you can look on Google Earth and have a look. But have a look at the beam; it's insane.
I've seen some beams, because this one of the old towns around here, there was either this old sawmill. Man, you come across some of the coolest, like 1 by 24 by 12 foot planks. Like when you conceive of like the number of them that you're looking at, and you're like the trees that those came off of, like it just it's bewildering. But I've seen some of the ones around here, not a 4x4 shit, that's huge, but easily like a 1x2, like a foot by
You,
2 foot by 2 foot. Like those are some big
It's what,
ones.
it's what
you
I mean.
forgot to say no pun intended on that bewildering comment.
The biggest ones I've seen around here are from they were from a bridge, and those ones they are what are they? They're like 16 by 20 by like 20, like they're 20 foot long. And old man, that one of my clients, he has them. He has two of them in his backyard as like benches under his eaves. But I mean, this old man is like 5'3", and to think that this old man put these freaking beams onto his truck back in the day all by himself because he came across out in the woods an old bridge that had washed out, and yeah, he ended up getting them beams in his truck and drove them home.
Yeah, there's. I think. Let me see.
Hey, Yahweh, I had a quick question with you. Well, it's not quick, but so if you charge low, right? And can I be the middleman for you? Get a job? No,
That's a
if
big
I can
favor
get
to charge low.
well, of course I'm gonna pay you still, but if I can get a job and then I get the money, but I still pay you.
See, I've even thought, because I like any of you guys on here, like if you were like looking for work or like trying to find something where you can like make some good money, like I'm not joking, like I would help you through and through starting like your business, like help guide you, help you find clients right away, what avenues, even possibly talk to people and like set up the job for you to come through. And then like while you're on it, if you run anything to me, like video call me to where I can help guide you through. Yeah, there's a whole business idea on that. That's something like for me in my heart, just who I am, like I can't charge for something like that. Like I cannot personally. I know a whole bunch of the people like, oh, that's dumb. Like, no, just me, the
No,
person.
but I'm charging somebody else to call you, but you're not even charging me. You know what I mean? The filtering. I am
So
the
funny.
middleman.
You're so funny.
Well, I was thinking right now,
Uh,
if you're charging 35, right, and I was like, okay, I can get a job remodeling, and I charge 10 grand, but I only paying you 2 or 3 or 5 at least. At least I'm making money, but you're still getting your paycheck.
Look, Lalo, you could definitely start a business like that right now, because there's plenty of
I
guys.
know.
There's plenty of guys who have the skills to do that $10,000 remodel, but they have no social or personal skills to set up that job. And like, I'm not joking, where a good like 60-70% of all your business is actually having that social ability with your client and establish, because part of it is trust. They're trusting someone to come in their house and break open a wall and tear apart their plumbing, redo their electrical, these things that are like essential to the safety of their home. And so a lot of guys don't have that. So you could definitely start a business, dude, where you set up the job and everything, you get the 10 grand and you go find some dude who has the skills and you pay him 3 grand to do it. There's guys who do that, bro.
Well, exactly. That's how I was like, of course, people. It's this whole social skills of making that deal to at least, like they say, close the deal, and then just once I get the money, of course, I have to come through, right? I'm not a little scammer, but of course, to come through.
Yep. And you have to have a guy that, like, again, you can trust that'll do the work, because that you got someone else performing the work that props up your name. So that's where things become a little hairy.
Right. It's like my uncle, he had a pool company, right? But of course he just hired a bunch of immigrants, low wage. But of course he taught everyone to do how to make the pool. But he did make a lot of money off of that. And some people do the same thing, with landscaping, right? Charge 10 grand and just get a bunch of immigrants to cut the yard, and there you go.
Yeah, landscaping's one I don't do. Well, it's like depends on what it is, building some gates, stuff like that. Landscaping and carpet installing, I know. Yeah, I know. And when I started out, oh heck yeah, I was taking landscaping jobs. For sure. You don't pass up any work when you're starting out. Beggars can't be choosers. And you
I know.
start out.
I was just telling my coworker about his this idea. So if I can charge 250, get the clients, but I still pay you, and he's like, "Well, I got a problem with that." And I'm like, "Well, I'm getting you the clients. I'm just making money off of you, of your low wage that you're presenting."
Now, best believe if you have that opportunity, that's starting a business. There are plenty of guys out there who will take $10 an hour to go handle that. Like, let's say it's a 4-hour landscaping job. Cutting the front yard, cutting the backyard, trimming everything, right? Cleaning it up, raking, all that stuff, right? So like you do that, but you're charging let's say 250 on the job, like you said, right? You're breaking him off $40 for the day for his work, right? Or you take him, he goes to another job and does it. So you end up paying him his 8 hours of work. He makes his $80, right? He's happy. He's real happy. He made $80 today, and you just made 420. You know what I mean? I mean, you have the expenditure of the tools. You have to pay for the gas that runs the tools. So yeah, let's say you break out 100 out of the two jobs, and it ain't even gonna be that much in gas or anything. It's really gonna be like $25 between both jobs. So you end up walking away with like $395 for the day on an 8-hour day. Now if you've got two guys, you've got two different houses that can be done at the same time, and that makes four houses that can be done total, right? There's $1,000 in the day. You're walking away after paying your dudes. You're walking away with like
They had
$600 in the day.
3 periods to work.
They're talking business over here, man.
This is real stuff, and these opportunities are like no joke. Like you would think, like, well, who's gonna pay me 250
It's good to
bucks
be
to live in
king.
my backyard? There are shit tons of people. Just put yourself out there. Put yourself on Craigslist. Free ads. Put some signs up at the freaking grocery store. Pick your neighborhoods. Pick your demographic that you're advertising to.
Or
It's out there, guys. Just gotta grab it. 4 months. You can 3 months of putting yourself out there, and you'll make more money than you made in 3 months of working.
Well, like you said, it doesn't take yourself, right? You have to have other people doing it too, right? Like, you got the people that can cut the grass, and
No,
no.
Oh, hello. The first this is
I don't want to watch. I don't want to cut grass. I want to find someone that can cut grass and filter through him.
Here's the thing, though. You cut grass, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about what you're willing to subject yourself to in order to come out ahead. Everybody wants to be able to sit on the front porch and drink the happy lemonade with the nice house, but no one wants to live in a bad house first to be able to build up to the nice house. If you work 3-4 months of cutting the grass yourself, you have to build up the money to be able to pay your dudes. You can try to do it all. You can do it all, like prepayments and like work it out, robbing Peter to pay Paul to start, and then everybody's on easy street after that. But if you start out with 3-4 months, you're doing it. You gain the experience and knowing what your guys need to do. You learn the mistakes to where you teach your guys not to make these mistakes. You end up you also have to buy your tools. You have to get maybe a trailer.
Well,
You have to.
I was kind of thinking
that.
like these. I forgot what these people are. Like, they have money, right? And they don't know what to do with the money, and they just hire a bunch of people they know what to do, and they just continue. Well, of course, but we're talking about the common man that's starting out.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a few thousand on the side already, then you already are good. What you would do is you'd take like right now like $600, and you don't have to buy new. You can buy used lawnmowers. Find a guy that you could trust that will repair lawn equipment, or you pay him like $25 an hour or whatever when he repairs your equipment. Doesn't take too long to repair equipment. It's real cheap. But get you some lawnmowers. If you want to go big and be fancy, get some a ride-on mower to start or build up to that. But for like 3 or 4 lawnmowers, you're gonna spend like $200 if you get them used, and they're good. They'll do the job. You get a couple of whackers. You spend like another $200 on like 3 or 4 whackers. Spending right. But your equipment startup on a lawn business is real cheap. It's just rake, shovel, hoe, hedge trimmers, weed whackers, lawnmower, and then you have to have your gas cans in your 2-stroke oil for being able to run your equipment, and then you have your gas cost to fill it. You could spend $1,000 on a trailer. You can find a decent truck on Craigslist or something from anywhere for $1,200 to $2,000. So I mean, but this is now we're getting out of that $2,000 holding. But $3,000, $3,500, you'll have a nice business. You can even in that cost have business cards. You could have like a $200 cost right off the bat for advertising. You can hire some kid to go pass out flyers in different neighborhoods. Yeah, like if you have the money on the side already, that's where you invest your money. If you're starting out and trying to make money, it's the same thing, but just you build up those things through doing the thing. Yeah, it's great. The opportunities out there, and like I try to encourage everybody to do it. I don't want anybody I know to be a wage slave. You don't have to do that with your life. You don't have to sacrifice your life like that. You can put your labor and your back breaking, your tears, your sweat. You can put that towards yourself and still make a living. You don't have to give yourself up as a slave to some company or some guy that doesn't give a fuck about you or your family. Like the people that you go work for, that you go do these jobs for, guess what? Your family, you have an emergency with your kid, you don't have to sweat about, oh, I got to tell my boss I got to go for my kid, and worry that he's going to not let you go, or worry that you got to take a stance and no, I got to go for my kid, or worry about what PTO I got left or what sick time I got left. How am I going to do this to where I got to cover because I got bills to pay? No, you just leave the job and go home and then come back and finish your job. You're the boss. Like, and even if you explain this to your clients, oh no, I had to go take my kid to the hospital. Oh, yeah, sir. Okay, no, yeah, of course. Oh, were they okay? Oh, are you okay? Yeah, it's a whole different experience when you work for yourself.
What's the topic? Snapper mowers?
No, business opportunities in America. I know you know about it, Tori. You got an HVAC business.
No, yeah, I love what you said. That was great. Yeah, everyone should do that.
No, I was kind of thinking like filtering the middleman in a way. Like you don't have the skill, you just find someone who has the skill, and then charge the client $250, but you're charging me $80 to do the job. But Yahweh saying that, well, at least have some knowledge of the job. Just of
Yeah,
course,
you ain't gonna sleep at night ripping people off like that, bro.
See what I mean? I was telling them, Tora, I can educate you and help you do it all, but to charge you for it and all that, I don't have it in me to do that. But you could, like, there's already businesses out there where they find the clients for you for your business, and you're paying them a fee per client they find you. Um, that's kind of the avenue you're talking about, Lalo. But then even
yeah.
what you're also talking about is pretty much what a general contractor does. A general contractor takes $1 million job, but then he hires a plumber, he hires the HVAC company, he hires the electricians, and he just really
Correct.
oversees and makes sure they do everything. And he cuts everybody off what they make for the job, and then he pockets the rest.
You gotta work up to that, though. You know what I'm saying? Like you first start off as the plumber, and then you all of a sudden you know everyone, right? You know HVAC guy, you know electrician, and then you go, all right, I'm gonna get my GC license and start
Yep.
running jobs. That's like a big step. You know, it's cool though to do that. But another easy business, like Yahweh was talking about, was the pool business, pool cleaning. Super cheap, super easy to get into.
Bro, you're in Florida. You would say that.
Yeah, try
Yeah,
that.
Lilo, aren't you out in Cali though, right?
Try that in England.
No, I do all sorts of weird jobs. Well, not weird, just a lot of handyman jobs. But yeah, mostly it's HVAC. But no, I haven't done pool cleaning.
Lalo, if you're doing handyman jobs, bro, you're already a step ahead, bro. All you would have to do is put yourself out there more, and you'd have yourself a career that you can depend
Well,
on.
well, the thing is, I'm getting overloaded of work, and I need to start finding trusting people, right? But of course, that goes back to how much you charge, and then I have to correlate. Okay, you're charging this, you're charging me that. Okay, so I have to adjust my price to the client. But of course, I'm not gonna. Well, of course, that's the whole conversation we had about the value. I'm not gonna rip off the client to make more money, and then I just pocket the money.
If you're getting overloaded of work already, then like I'm already at that perspective. Like I've got people freaking hiring me for I'm gonna have to work a year ahead, bro. Like it is a little, and I don't like saying no. Um, so all you can do is really put your price higher. And I don't like putting the price that
Yes,
high.
I up my price already,
You have,
so that's
you have
why.
to, you have to hire somebody, bro. You have to find, like, I've gone through now like 6 guys where I, like, on like pre-trial kind of thing, seeing their work ethic, because I want to give people what they're paying for. I don't like any kind of slacking. I want to pay a guy. I want the guy to do a good job if I'm paying him. If I'm paying you $25 an hour, I want to see some work. I shouldn't be seeing slacking when you don't have any job around that's paying you that much. You know what I mean? I should see that willingness to make that to make a living. But yeah, you just got to find a guy that you can trust to go either start prep on those other jobs, like while you're doing the main finishing of one job, you've got another guy doing all the prep work, sanding, this and that, caulking, all this other stuff, whatever it is, and then you come in and you finish the main stuff. But you gotta find a guy, and then you just break him off based on like what you're charging for the job.
Well, it's funny because I started with cleaning the gutters, and then from the gutters, I started making the gutters, and then putting on the new gutters now. And
Heck
then I
yeah,
told them
bro.
that, and then I started just like, well, I know HVAC, and then I just got more contracts with a new homeowner that a person that does flipping, and I got jobs from that guy. So I was like,
Bro,
damn, just.
you got me excited and happy for you, bro. Like, no bull. Like, yeah.
But like you said,
It-
yes, you have to start putting your hands dirty. Just going up in the roof, just taking all that dirt off. It's like, yeah, it's a dirty job.
Yeah, we
and
talked
then
about that a long time ago, Lalo. You know, about going out on your own. Are you still working for someone or no?
Yeah, I'm still working for someone.
It's time to quit, bro. This is your sign.
and with the gutters, Lalo, open yourself up to replacing fascia and soffits, like the soffit area and the fascia, because a lot of the times when you go to replace gutters, that fascia board is rotted, so you actually don't get a really secure hold on your new gutter. So replacing fascia, also recaulking the area, the old fascia, and things like that. Those are things you can open yourself up to in that avenue of just gutters.
Yeah, right now it's all everything's all in the site. It's all cash right now. But yeah, the whole concept of opening the business of a subcontractor. Yeah, of course, it does take more licensing and all that stuff to make it official.
Or it's not even, because if you're in Cali, if you're in
Yep.
Cali, you do not need a handyman. You don't need a license at all if you're making $500 or less on the job. So if you actually piece the jobs out, like the caulking job separate, the fascia job separate, the gutter job separate, or like different aspects of the gutter job, if you piece those off into separate things, you can make a $2,000 job as 4 different jobs that still fall under that 500 in Cali.
I did not know that. I'll look into that.
Yes, bro, you can do that. Yeah, you can do it that way to where you
Or
piece
if you do
yourself out.
Yeah, or if you do a job over 500, just tell the person to pay you in cash. That's it.
Well, that's what I'm
That
doing now.
that too. That too. The other way allows you to establish like a tax record where you can start filing taxes for your business, because when you do that, there's certain different opportunities you get in the business with your business. There's different tax
Well,
breaks you can qualify
right.
for.
Like, of course, it's like those whole concept of the the price goes higher once you're buying it directly from the person, right? Because right now I have connections within the HVAC to get all this material on the low end. Because a lot of, like you said, a lot of the people that do handyman, they just buy stuff from Home Depot. And I'm like, no, like get the stuff, like you said, Tora, from the place. You know, not getting Mr. Cool and all that stuff that you can get on Amazon. And yeah, there are some products that are.
The reason why that isn't really like me personally, the reason why I don't go that route, it takes more to find a distributor for everything than going to a big box store for certain things, for pretty much everything. And the client pays the cost of it. Most guys who go and find the things cheaper, what they're doing is they pay cheaper, but they're selling it back to the client for what it costs in the store. So they're making money on the material as well. Like I don't put a surcharge on material for any of my clients. It's whatever I pay at the store is what they pay. There's no surcharge for me acquiring it, time it took to get it, none of it. It's just what I paid for it. That's that. Unless I
Well,
got charged.
maybe you're more transparent, but yeah, of course.
Yeah, but with yeah, because I mean, your business, what you, let's say like the big dollars that gutter business you work up towards is you getting your own truck. With it's a box truck with you're doing seamless gutters. Seamless gutters is like the pinnacle of the gutter business. And to do seamless gutters, you got to get a seamless gutter roller. That you pretty much it runs in the back of a truck, like a U-Haul box truck. You open it up and you got a couple guys, and you're pretty much rolling the metal out into one long gutter, one seamless gutter.
Yep, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's not bad. You can find those machines because guys try to start businesses and they don't do good because they don't have good diligence, and they don't apply themselves well. But I was looking into this too before because a lady wanted seamless gutters and what she was willing to pay for the gutters would have paid for the machine. It's like you like the seamless gutter install ain't no joke, and one house will make you like 15 grand easy. And the machine only costs around, you can find them on low for around like 8 grand, but on average around 10 to 12 grand. And then you're paying for a box truck. A box truck will run you like 3 to 5 grand.
Well,
and
that's how
one house pays for all of it.
But that's how it started, like you said. You know, when you start looking at gutters, like man, people don't even replace the gutters. They don't clean them, and not having maintenance, they have to replace them. But of course, you know, but that goes with maintenance of these gutters.
Replacing the fascia, and then if you notice, so many houses they got their roofs installed and they have no drip edge on the roofs, so the fascias are just rotting out. And so replacing the fascia around the whole perimeter of the roof for a client, that's like a $2,000 job right there added to it. You know, it's adding the drip edge. There's another $600-700. So it's like a $3,000 job. You know, and you're doing it cheaper than other people are going to come around and do it. And then you're also doing the gutters. Like always cross train. Always cross train.
Do they have like bricks? You know, like houses with brickwork.
Tiles, you mean?
No, say like like just like in the UK we have house bricks. There's not much cladding. We don't have like lapboard or not so much. You know, only on timber frame houses.
More in the East Coast, you'll find brick buildings, brick houses made from brick. A lot of
the. No, so this is a.
Let me finish what I was going to say.
Yeah, you go.
Right, the mortar between the bricks usually deteriorate after years, and it's one job. It always amazed me how much money you get per square meter for repointing the house in the UK. It hasn't changed. It just keeps going up.
I was going to say it's essentially illegal to make houses out of anything but like wooden foundations. You cannot have brick be like the structure load-bearing part of the house. You can't use, concrete slabs. You can't use brick. You can't use anything else. If it doesn't have the ability to burn down, then you're not allowed to make houses in America out of it.
That's
Which
not
I mean,
true.
It's existing.
That's not true, yeah. Dude, the code in South Florida, because of the hurricanes, is the house has to be built out of brick.
And that's the East Coast. Like the East Coast, temperate regions, their climates, their seismic activity dictates how they build their houses. And the West Coast, the seismic activity is so high that you aren't allowed to build with bricks. And most that you see with bricks, it's a facade. It's not any part of the load bearing structure of the building. But that's because of the seismic activity on the West Coast. On the East Coast, you find a lot of bricks to where even like Tora just said, it's a part of their code. You must build with it.
But I do get what you're saying, Aske, for sure. There's something screwy going on with people building out of wood, for sure.
They must put sway braces in the construction because they even in UK they do it. It's a new thing where they say like, oh yeah, you've got to like start tying in. So like you've got the panels, and then you'll have to drill in with like say like 3-inch bolts. So it'll be like when you put your roof on and you put your sway brace on to like so it don't like move. So you'll like it'll go up diagonals when you put your diagonals in, and then that's probably. So they do that on the panels on the structure. So on the side, as your first floor panels, it will just have a cross bracing in there, and they say it's for wind because the timber frame is not so strong.
They used to build houses like that. There's an old Navy house building instruction thing for like the Navy learning or whatever, and no, like old houses, you'll find it. There's cross bracing on all the walls, like just like with the floors, the blocking to pull out the sway of the floor. You'll find that in the walls as well. Nowadays it's mostly as fire blocking. That if the walls catch on fire, it retards or it slows down the fire progression through the cavities.
Yeah, they put the fire sock in it.
Yeah.
I don't think that fire sock's going to do anything. Me personally, I don't know.
It does. It shows on all the tests. It slows down the fire because it has to burn through that block before it reaches the next part of the cavity.
Yeah, it's not going to stop anything. That's for sure.
No. It's just to slow it down.
Because I see some are like 40 by 40, and some are 140 by 40, depending on where you have to put them. Like you put them on the cord, or you put them in the corners along the roof edge.
I've noticed the UK. There's a lot more blocking that goes in their structures. Though I bought designs from a guy in the UK before, and I don't like how the joist structure was built. I don't like how they run their joists in some areas. It's like they don't use a rim joist in a sense.
Yeah, it depends.
They kind of just run their joists, and then they run the wall, the sheeting, and then the wall on top of that. And then like some blocking to close the cavities, but there's no true rim joists, and so it's like, it's weird.
So what you're saying, you make the ring beam first, then put the joists in.
So yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, I start at one end, two rim joists. Your first joist is your outside rim, one of your outside rim joists, and then you just run your joist between the two rim joists, over a support. Yeah.
We usually mechanical fix, like you have a hanger, they'll go on the block work.
Well, yeah. I mean, you need nails in or the hangers. With the hangers keep it from you where you actually don't need to have any support under, but it's actually a stronger build that if you build like on a sill plate, like even if you're running piers, if you run piers and you run your beams and you lay a sill plate and then you build your rims and your joist structure, your box, all your joists for like the first 4 to 6 inches, they're sitting on blocking. So it's like essentially you don't even need a hanger at that point. And that's how they used to all be built. So you just nail into your joists from the rims, and the first 6 inches on each side of the joist are supported on a beam. And so you don't need any hangers. They're sitting solid.
Yeah, I think nowadays there's a lot of pre-made as well, prefab. Like for timber frames, usually they will come as a floor plate. It will be 2 panels. All the joists are already in, and then you like ratchet, put a ratchet and ratchet it together.
I know it's like pre-built.
Yeah, and you just stick it down with that Gorilla Glue. The glue where it foams up. So when I first see that, it was insane. Me and my brother, we were covered. I was going, "What the fuck is this?"
Bro, when I started seeing them sheathed with that green styrofoam shit, I was shocked. You got these $1 million buildings and they're being sheathed with styrofoam. I'm like, what is this crazy shit? Who convinced them of this?
We done a timber frame house, and it's called the make is Space 4, and it's like even like a 2 foot long panel is a crane. You've got to lift it up by a crane.
is fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the stuff, these will not burn down ever. They won't blow over, nothing. And the fixings are like, they're like 120 screws. It's insane. Everything's screwed as well. It's like these big long screws. Everything, all bolted together.
All screws too.
Yeah, you screw the joists. Yeah, it's a mad kit. It's a really mad kit.
Yeah.
You get like 4.5 meter joists. And it's just, then you have to do then you'll like floor it, then put the block in underneath. It's just mad. It's one of the, and if there's a mistake, and they make a lot of mistakes, if you're, say like it's under 500, so like your charge is under 500, you're doing it for nothing. And usually all the mistakes are less than 500 to repair. So
Ouch.
yeah, just doing a lot of work for nothing.
That's crazy. All under the guise of saving time.
Yeah, and you've got to be an AP, because I'm an AP, like an appointed person for the crane, so I can move it, because like the crane will come in, and for sure there'll be, they'll Spaceport will say like, oh, the crane needs to be set up here, and then you've got to move it, and if you're not an AP, you can't move the crane. Yeah, it's mad. Then you've got the guy on the site going, can we borrow your crane? I was going, mate, if you have an accident, it's not, I can't do it. And then they hate you.
Inefficiency is crazy.
Fuck did that happen?
Because it just happened.
The one time we get sleep.